Hi. So we continue on the journey on emotional intelligence, and as we continue on this journey, we will discover that emotional intelligence affects a lot of areas of our lives, and as previously indicated, it is that skill that helps us to learn to live with our surroundings, with the people around us, and so it will play a key role in managing our life, our day-to-day life situations. So today I want us to look at another aspect, and this is stress and stress management. How does emotional intelligence help us in managing stress? Now we will, of course, we will appreciate that a lot of us will talk about having undergone stress at some point. We know of somebody who has gone through stress, and we'll always find ourselves saying, I'm in a stressful situation right now, I'm undergoing a lot of stress. And so what is stress? Stress, simply put, is an overwhelming tension, and this could be physical or emotional on a person. It could be that feeling of, attention or pressure on your physical well-being and or also on your emotional well-being. For purposes of this session, we will dwell on the emotional well-being, where stress now is a factor of overwhelming tension on your emotional well-being. Stress can also be described as your body's response to a demanding situation or a difficult situation. And we are usually told when your body undergoes stress, it releases what is called the flight or fight response, where your body is now trying to cope with that tension at that point, and the first instinct is you either enter into a flight mode or a fight mode. Now, when there are episodes of stress that actually help us when a demand is put on our body, for instance, when there is danger. That's when your body goes into flight mode and or fight mode. When there's danger that is coming up, your body undergoes stress that helps you either run away from the danger or face the danger. And at that point, then stress is good for you. That particular stress at that point, it's short-term stress that has been released, and it's important for you to overcome that situation at that point. Or you're running in a competition, you're running in a race. There's a stress that level that is released by your body at that point to help you cope with that competition. And so at that point, then stress becomes good. Or stress becomes, it's an advantage to our body. However, long periods of stress can wear and tear your body. And so that is what we want to address. When your body is always releasing a flight or fight response, then it cannot be good on you, because then what it means is that you're always in an anxious state of mind. You're always, your body is always fighting something emotionally. And so that is what I would like us to address. High levels of stress. How do we use emotional intelligence to manage those high levels of stress? Now, the reason emotional intelligence becomes a critical factor in managing stress is because when you're stressed, your body releases a lot of emotional senses in you. So you're either faced with fear, you get angry, or you get frustrated, or you face despair, or just sadness. Yeah. So those are some of the emotions that the body releases when you are stressed. And that is why then, because then we are looking at a lot of emotions, then it becomes very important for us to now use emotional intelligence to help us in managing our stress levels. And so I'm going to, in this episode, I'll just look at a few of the ways that we can try to cope with stress by using emotional intelligence, and we'll probably wrap up this particular session on the next clip. So the first way, of course, that you can actually manage your stress is by recognizing your emotions. Remember self-awareness. This always is very vital in emotional intelligence. Just recognizing your emotions and not running away from the feelings that you're experiencing at that time. So when you're angry, know you're angry. I have said previously that you need to allow your body to experience the pleasant and the unpleasant. Your body will experience sadness. Your body will, you will have that point where you're experiencing anger or frustration. Know when you're experiencing those emotions, and when you know when you're experiencing those emotions, then you're able to react appropriately. We are not saying that by being emotionally intelligent that you do not experience all these emotions. You will, and you have to. The only thing is that the difference now is the minute you recognize the emotions that you're dealing with, then you know how to react appropriately, and you know then that your emotions are not the ones that are going to drive your reactions, and that is very key. A lot of times we will, there are times some people do not expect you to react in a certain, or rather to be angry, or do not expect you to face those moments of, despair. When you know that you are going through those moments, you know how to react appropriately. It's not fair to expect that people will not, or somebody will not feel that. They will feel it, but then they are more aware of what they're feeling, and then they know that I am really sad right now. I probably need some space. I am really unhappy right now. I need I need to just maybe do something that will lift my spirit. But I will not allow now that feeling or that emotion to now dictate that I will enter into a confrontation or so you're able to manage your emotions, and that is very important. And then the next thing is, of course, know your triggers. What are your triggers? If doing a certain thing or being around certain people upsets you, then you can either practice avoidance or know how to manage your triggers at that point. You will not always, if you always know that when you're in a certain situation, you get really upset or you get really emotional, then avoid it. And I'd like to say it here, it's the same thing. I mean, when you know that when you go out and you have your drink or you have whatever it is, and it doesn't make you feel like a very nice person the following day, then when you know that is a trigger, you stay away from it. When you know that when you are in a certain situation, you react in a very negative manner, then you keep away from it. So it is really important, because there are times, yes, we want to go out, have a nice time, and then you come back and all you're feeling is just a weight of, being low, and that going out probably was your trigger, or being with somebody who depresses you, that is a trigger. So when you know that the triggers that you're dealing with, then you're able to keep away from those triggers, or you're able to manage the triggers altogether. So whatever it is that stresses you, identify it, and then now deal with it appropriately. If avoiding helps, by all means, do avoid. I always say I don't have to keep myself in a stressful situation, but if you're not able to avoid, it's not always possible to avoid, then manage it. And you can always find ways of managing your triggers if you're able to identify them. Now, number 3, I'll call it, checking your expectations on yourself and on others. If you expect too much perfection from yourself and from others, every time you have that feeling of this needs to be perfect, everything I do needs to be perfect, and this person needs to be perfect, then there's always a sense of failure at the back of your mind that will be lingering. And so check your expectations of yourself and of the people around you, and always leave room for improvement, or leave room for that this might not go the way I want it to go. If it is important to be ambitious, it is important to set targets and to set expectations, but it is also important to set reasonable expectations. When you set unreasonable expectations, even on your spouse or on your partner or on your friends, then you end up with stress. That becomes a stress trigger, because when it is not done in line with your expectations, or when they do not deliver in line with your expectations, then you end up getting very disappointed, and you end up probably getting stressed, and you're always in a feeling of I need to react to this situation, or I am not happy, or I am this is really, really getting me upset. So check your expectations on yourself and on others. Be kind to yourself. You have set expectations. Yes, you need to push yourself. Remember, there's self-motivation in emotional intelligence. You do need to motivate yourself and push yourself to achieve those expectations. But when you're not able to, sit back and reset. It is always okay to reset when you need to reset. Do not find yourself in a place where your stress levels are now overtaking and now controlling you, or that situation is now controlling you to a point where you're dealing with very high stress levels. And so for today, I will stop here. We will continue with how we can manage stress using emotional intelligence in our next clip. But for now, I'd really hope that we can, for our own wellness and for our own, well-being and just being, being in a happy place of some sort, do check on your stress levels. We live in a world that is extremely demanding and that is extremely stressful. But you can use emotional intelligence to actually drive yourself into focus without necessarily getting bogged down by the stresses that are part of our everyday life. And so I hope this session has been helpful. Do feel free to give your feedback, your comments, and see you in the next session. Thank you.